Hello and welcome. I'm recording from sunny Istanbul. You can see the reflection in the background of this video. I'm just here for a few days and it's beautiful to see the Bosphorus in front of me. And today we're going to be diving into self-sabotage and how it shows up in the soul contract. And this is kind of my theme for this month, and I am running a free soul healing workshop on the 22nd of April to dive into how self-sabotage and perfectionism and avoidance and all those tricky things show up in the soul contract. So come along if you want to explore that a little bit more deeply. And if you can't make it, I run them every month, so you can check out the events link, which I put below. Now, if you're new here, my name's Antonia, and I love to help people understand the energetic imprints within their soul contract that is driving their reality. And let me pull up my chart and we're going to look into this a little bit more deeply. So looking at my soul contract here to just give you a little bit of example of what it is you're looking at. So the sound of your name creates your reality, because sound is vibration. And this system takes your birth certificate name and it creates what we call your Star of David soul contract. And you'll see there are little different elements in each chart. Spiritual and the physical, that's the first difference. Tends to be earlier in life, this is later in life. And then you have your karma. So your karma is your challenge, what you're really here to work through in this lifetime. A lot of self-sabotage is going to be happening there, let me tell you that. And then you have your talents. And your talents are what your soul uses to work through your karma and to reach your goals. And talents are always needing to be tuned up. So one of the ways that self-sabotage really plays out is it tends to trip us up when we're really starting to come out into the world and be seen and express who we are. And then we have our goals, and our goals are what our soul is really wanting to achieve in this lifetime. And they can be a little bit karmic and a little bit challenging to reach as well. And then over everything, we have our soul destiny. And our soul destiny carries all the energies of our soul contract like an umbrella energy. And it carries everything. And as you can see, I have two 12-3s on my chart. So my soul really wanted me to learn the 12-3 energy, and it really wanted me to learn the 7 energy in this lifetime and really embody it and come into the positive potential in it. Because out of each of the 22 numbers, and I love that we've just dived into the deep end straight away. I was going to start this video really softly, but that's not the energy I'm in. So each number is like a seesaw. So you have the negative expression of the number and the positive, and we're always trying to move out of the negative and into the positive. Now, bringing it back to self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a way for our ego mind to stay in control. It shows up, and I'm sure we're all very, very familiar with it, when we're about to do something that's for our own benefit, for our well-being, for our sense of achievement and worthiness. Our self-sabotage can come in very unconsciously to stop us doing it. No, don't go for a run, don't go to the gym, it says. Sit down and relax, you deserve it, you've earned it. No, you don't need to finish that project today. You don't need to worry about the project. You can do it tomorrow. You know that voice. It's very persuasive, very sneaky. And the reason it's there is this is our ego mind and this is us. We're here to come back to love, come back to source in the 12th dimension. We are here to know the truth of who we are and the immense power that we have within us, that we have been conditioned in the world that we live in not to believe and not to recognize. We've forgotten it. We wake up to this world as a baby. We're born remembering and knowing our perfection. Then as we go through life, that is taken away from us. And it's our journey of remembering to come back and break through the ego mind, which is like a glass ceiling of our consciousness, to come through back into that remembrance of who we truly are. And self-sabotage is a way for us to stay out of consciousness. And that's why the healing work and the deep inner work is so powerful, because we need to be very acquainted and very aware and very conscious of our programming and our judgments and our fears and our self-sabotage and all the other stuff keeping us stuck, because only then can we begin to recognize it and feel it and bring it into our awareness to be transmuted. Because what we don't know, we can't do anything about. But what we do know, we can recognize and we can begin to work on. So that's just a little summary. And if you're new here, this is kind of what I do. I love to look at the energies in the soul contract to help us gain a deeper understanding of what are the hidden drivers within us, what are the hidden themes, what are our challenges. And knowing your soul contract is the most validating thing. It's so deeply rewarding to be like, that's why I understand myself now. That's why I've always been, let me give you an example actually, from knowing my soul contract. That's why I find it hard to speak up. That's why I tend to be the peacekeeper and why I feel things so deeply. That's why I find it really hard to slow down. I'm always in a rush. That's why I love to read. That's why I can be really shy, but that's why I can also be super magnetic with other people. And that's why I've had disempowering situations in my life. And it's much deeper than that, because all the energies weave and play together to create the tapestry of your life. And if you're curious about what self-sabotage you have in your chart, I've actually written a guide, the hidden themes of self-sabotage in your soul contract. And I go through each number to give a top level overview of what those themes are for each number. And I really, really love doing this. I've done quite a few guides like this. I've done a guide of a shame in the soul contract. That's a really key one in each number. But this one is about self-sabotage. And so I'm going to give you a little example. So if we go into my chart and we're going to work with, let's get a nice colour, let's go green. There's a couple of different self-sabotages for the energy of 5. It's my physical karma, so it's one of my deepest challenges. 5s are here to learn to use their voice and express themselves. But the self-sabotage here is that we can find it really, really hard to speak up, even when we know it would be good for us to do that. We can be really, really shy and reluctant to share what's really going on within us and express it. And that can actually build to shyness and resentment. I'm never heard, I'm never understood. And so we have to work to find ways of speaking that feel safe and grounded for us. And as we begin to use our voice, our intuition can really start to flow and move through us. And what I will say is with the 5s as well, another really big self-sabotage with this 5 energy is we're very floaty, mental and ungrounded. And what this means is we stay in the clouds, big imaginations. And 5s are really here to get grounded. And with all of the big creativity and imagination they have, they are here to bring it through the body, which is our tool for physical co-creation and manifestation. Bring it through out of abstraction and idea into grounded, tangible reality. So 5s can have a ton of beautiful ideas and they never do anything with them. And so the self-sabotage is, I'll just keep them in my mind. Oh, I'll work on them later. Oh, I'm not going to write them down because I don't need to. Or I'm not going to make them real. But you have to with a 5. You have to pick one idea and you have to make it real. And only then can that beautiful creativity and imagination come through into reality. And I'll give you one more example of a good self-sabotage. Let me pick a good one. What other numbers do I have? Let's go to 8. My other karma. So 8s can tend to pull away from emotional connection. I don't want to commit. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to be here. Be very sort of, I don't want this. I don't want this experience. I don't want to feel the emotions around it. I don't want to commit or settle to a relationship, to a person or a job, even though actually there is a deep longing within them for connection, for a sense of home, because 8s are a high frequency energy. that they come to the density of Earth and they think, what the hell am I doing here? I want to go home. This physical, dense reality does not feel safe for me. 8s are all about feeling safe, same with the 5s. And when we pull away from emotional connection, because we don't want to get stuck into the emotional heaviness of Earth, we get very destabilized. It's very unrewarding for us. So we have to be present with our feelings, and only then, even though part of us will be desperate to pull away, we have to lean into the emotions in order to connect. And then we can find that rooting and that grounding that we so desperately need. And that's a very rewarding feeling. Very, very rewarding. So the self-sabotage with 8s is, I'm going to withdraw. And not just withdraw from connections and stability and grounding with others and jobs and homes and places. I've moved so many times, can't even explain. Apart from the last 3 years, I've stayed in one place. But 8s can also withdraw from feeling the emotions within themselves. The self-sabotage for 8s is, I don't want to feel it, so I'm just going to numb and I'm going to block and I'm going to stay in my mind and I'm going to overthink everything. I'm going to overanalyze, I'm going to overthink. I don't need to, go into my emotions, but actually you do. You are really, really here to come into your emotional body and ground. So just a couple of different examples. You can go in there and have a look and see what you feel a deep connection to. Some you will not resonate with because they're not the key numbers in your chart. It doesn't mean it has to be in your karma. We'll feel self-sabotage in our goals massively, especially in our soul destiny, also in our talents. And if you've got more than one number showing up, like me, I've got lots of 7s, that self-sabotage is going to be quite strong. And we don't just have one, we have many, because within us we are layered and layered and layered and layered and layered. And the goal of this lifetime is to take those layers off and integrate them within ourselves. Everything we don't like about ourselves, integrate it in. And finally then, without all those heavy layers burdening us, we can see the truth of who we are. Powerful, beautiful, unique, and divine. So I hope that helps. I posted the guide below, and from beautiful Istanbul, I wish you a very lovely rest of your day.